Hello, good afternoon, Martin. How are you? I hope you're all doing well. Sunday afternoon, the time is 3:37 UK, and I'm joined by Francis McLure and Morten Arup in Denmark, which is one exciting time. I'm talking all about Scottish Masters, badminton, the scene within Scotland and around the world, I suppose. I'm quite keen to meet these two great players. I look forward to hearing all about the events within badminton Scotland and what's all oncoming. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
How are you today? Good?
Yes, no complaints from Copenhagen.
That's good. And can I ask how long have you both been involved in Masters badminton?
I think my first time I participated was in 2016 or 17, I think. That's my guess.
Really?
Yeah.
And
What
for
about you,
me, I
Francis?
have just been involved for 4 years.
Have you?
Yeah.
And are you from Scotland originally, Francis? Where are you from? You definitely got an English twang, a bit like mine in the background.
Yeah, I was born in Holland, but I only lived there for a year.
Right?
Grew up in England, and then I went to university at Stirling in Scotland.
Oh,
So
really?
I ended up staying up here, and I'm now at the point where I've lived in Scotland longer than I lived in England. So
Wow.
yeah, I've got quite a strange accent.
There's quite a big badminton scene in Stirling, isn't there?
Yeah. That was definitely one of the appeals of going there.
Yeah, the sport is fantastic. And how long have you
Yeah,
played badminton
absolutely.
for?
So I started when I was 10. I didn't want to play badminton at all because my sister was 3 years older and I hated watching. And then I tried it once and this coach said I was really good at it. And I wasn't, but I fell for it and I just got hooked. And I absolutely love it. I can't really describe what it is, but I just enjoy it so
And
much.
have you played
So
all your life without break or anything, Francis? Have you?
yeah, although I do kind of think it was only when I came up to Scotland that I started playing what I would say is prop play. I
Yeah.
was from a very rural area in England, so there wasn't really an awful lot of badminton down there. Um, and then towards the end of the kind of my senior years, I just thought I'm not going to stop because if I stop, I'll not start again. So I kind of hung on for those final years, ready for masters. So that's my journey.
And when did you take up the Masters?
So as soon as I think it was pretty much as soon as I finished, I went straight into, as soon as I turned 35, I went into
Right.
masters and yeah, we've just continued
What
ever
about you,
since.
Morton?
Well, I started when I was around 6 or 7, I think. And I'm 52 now, so it's been going on for a few years, yeah.
It's not obviously very, very big in Denmark, isn't it? It's incredible
Badminton
sport
is
over
big,
there.
yeah. It's been for many years. I still think football and handball are probably the national sports, but badminton are very, very, very close.
Yeah, I was lucky to. I've interviewed some quite interesting Danish players, and Morten Frost, actually,
Yeah.
Kenneth Fast, and a few other coaches and that kind of thing. And they talk about the club culture in
Yeah.
Denmark is incredible, isn't there? Isn't there some ridiculous number of clubs?
Well, there is many, and you can say that the level compared to how small country we
I
are very
know.
high. We have some of the best players in the world,
Agree.
along with Asia. So, badminton is big, and it goes for both youth and normal seniors, and I don't use the words veterans, but plus 35 players.
Yeah.
So
Thank
that's
you.
a better expression.
So
Uh,
tell me a little bit about the Scottish Masters. The rock. I've got a very, very specific list of questions for you,
Okay.
Francis, from Craig Robertson, which you very kindly provided. Like, I need to ask this question. Okay, so I've got so just to go number one. Can you tell me about the Masters scene in Scotland and beyond? Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so I suppose that's quite a good question for me, having just come into it. I think it was my first tournament at the Masters, which was, I think it was the National Championships. And I didn't really know anything about Masters badminton. It's like a different world. And it was Alan McMillan who was telling me about all these tournaments that I should do and I should go to the Europeans. And I was just like, Alan, I don't know if I'm good enough. And he was great for me. You just kind of need that one person that pushes and pushes you. So he was a person for me that kind of totally guided me through it all. But it has changed dramatically in just the couple of years that I've been doing it. It's very structured now. There's a WhatsApp group with hundreds of players in it. There's then subgroups if you want to play a European competition, you're all together in that. There's the Scottish Masters Facebook page. There's clear pathways of what tournaments to play, depending on your level, what clubs to join. So I think Scottish Masters badminton has grown phenomenally in just
in 2
the
years.
couple of years that I've been involved in it. Yeah, definitely.
And there's no going back, I guess. I mean, I guess I'm the same myself. I'm 54 and you do have a little bit of imposter syndrome. You think, oh, am I good enough? Just that thing, isn't it? That fear. And you hear, I mean, I kind of gauge it from other people I know that play in them. And I've got a few friends that play in these events. They're like, oh, I'm as good as them. Or I'm as good as them. I can, and it is that first step is that we're nervous, the very first
Yeah.
one.
Oh, my first Europeans, I was petrified. And I look back and I laugh because I couldn't go out for the practice court day. I'm a teacher
All right.
and I didn't want to take time off work. And I thought, oh, I don't need the practice session, it'll be fine.
Right? Yeah.
I had never played in a hall. Morten, you might have been there in Slovenia, and it was the highest ceiling. And the game started, and you had like a 2-minute knock up. I didn't hit a single overhead shot. I couldn't time it. So that first step was daunting. But then actually, I got into the hang of it. And even the players' boxes before you got announced onto court, it was all new to me. But then actually, I ended up with a bronze medal at my first European. So I was glad I did it. But
Well done.
you had to be quite tough to kind of really push yourself to do something out of your comfort zone like that.
When I've been to All England, that kind of thing, and I've seen the height of the halls, and I can't imagine actually playing in a hall where you literally couldn't make it hit the ceiling if you tried,
Yeah.
kind of thing. It's quite absurd to watch it coming down, isn't it? And have the ability for the shuttle to come down so vertically, which you don't normally get a chance to do. You can play real height like you see on YouTube and things, don't you?
I think when you're used to playing in the Coburn Centre or Scotstoun, and it's just these lovely venues, and then you go into something so big. And I know Morten because I watched his games at the Europeans this year in Belgium in the middle of a velodrome. I don't think anything could prepare you for the size of venue and the conditions that you're playing in. But we all just have to do it, so it's kind of fun.
And over to you, Morten, do you do a lot of Masters events? Do you play others around Europe, around the world, anything like that?
Well, if I can see the time because of my work, but I try to play the All England and I've done Scotland for a few years because it's a fun tournament. I think the level has gone up the last year or two because earlier we needed to increase the level. There were a lot of matches that might not have the level
Good
that
enough.
the tournament deserved. And of course, it's good that so many joins the tournament, but and there
Has
were
to
some
understand.
matches that needed a bit of level, and you can see that that's the good thing about, for instance, the European or the Worlds. You have to qualify, and especially the Worlds, it's only 4 participants in each age group from every country, which means it's the rankings that decide who's to go. Um, so the level, of course, is higher in that. But I think the level the last 2 years, and I heard there's a lot of players participating this year. I know, for instance, we are like 24 couples in plus 50 mix, which is very wild when you have a hopefully to get on a flight and come back Sunday.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. So, but it's good for the tournament, and I think it's a little bit. It would be better if we could play in one hall. I heard that they have to play in two different halls this year, which is good for the tournament. But in terms of the matches and the environment, it would have been much better if we could have been in one facility. It
don't you
gives
think
much.
it's a general problem within badminton?
Yeah,
It's a kind of it's a chicken and egg thing. You need lots of people, but you need standard as well, and that
yeah.
balance is so difficult.
I fully understand. But I mean, Anyway, everyone knows when
So
they
great.
sign up that they hope, of course, hope for many players. So there'll be a lot of matches, of course.
So there's it creates mention an upcoming event at the Rock McCoy International versus England, Francis.
Yeah, so that's on the Friday, the day before the international
Is that
kind of properly starts. Or I
what
suppose
date?
the
Sorry,
international
what date?
starts.
Is it the 27th?
Sorry?
What date is the Masters?
The 17th, Friday the 17th is the McCoy Trophy, and then the international starts on the Friday night because the draw is so big, and then it runs Friday night, Saturday, Sunday.
Wow, wow, exciting times. What's the format of the competitions? That's a question.
Oh, well, it's actually great because again, just been new to it all, kind of finding out the history about it. So, the trophy was given by Robert McCoy's family after he passed away. So he was one of Scotland's top players, winning titles nationally and internationally. And I believe he moved down to England at one point. So the trophy was donated by the family, and every year Scotland and England battle it out. It has been going for, I think it's over 24 years.
Wow.
It's different teams. So there's the 35, over 35 team, 40, right the way up to, I think it's 65. And then in each category, you're playing singles, men's singles, women's singles, men's doubles, women's doubles mixed. And the winner is the team that has the most wins and the overall
Are you
matches.
both single players as well?
Morten,
Sorry,
I'll let you go.
sorry. What did you ask?
Are you both single players?
Yeah, if my body can, I usually do the singles, and I like you playing that match because it basically hurts a lot of players. So then that Friday night, so that's very good. No, I think also our Danes were asked 1 year or 2 years about if we could come because there have earlier been problems with signing up the teams, and I know some of the English players are coming on Friday, but they're not playing the individual tournament. But which means it means a lot for them for the match. So it's a very good tradition. I hope you can keep it on for sure.
Yeah, fantastic. What level of players are competing? What do you think of that? We've touched on that a little bit.
The level of the
Level
individual
of
tournament.
players, yeah, the level of players within. I guess within the Scottish national. I guess we're talking about what's the general standard? Is it how how it's quite hard to say, isn't it?
The level is
The
higher.
international players, is it high club players? Is it is it what do you think of?
I think there are some good players in each age group, but the level is higher if you compare to All England or Denmark Open for that matter.
Yeah,
Because there's, for instance, in Denmark Open, there are a lot of Danish players that don't play international because they don't have the time, but the level is very high.
yeah,
So, but I think, as I said earlier, the last 2 years it's been better,
good.
and the level has increased significantly. And I think one of the reasons is that you see many other countries moving up. One land like Scotland, one land like France, Holland come with a lot of players. German is starting to showing up.
Brilliant.
Swedes. So a lot of those countries that may earlier only have sent less players to the real big events. Badminton is really moving, and you said it earlier that badminton in for the last 2 years in Scotland have moved increasingly. I understand that's one of the key reasons why it's been growing. And we also saw Macmillan and Craig in Denmark Open this year, which was nice. I look forward to play with them. I think they have a rematch from the Europeans. They would like to.
Yeah, I watched that.
That was a good game. It was. So
Brilliant.
yeah, let's hope we could face again. That would be a tight one. Yeah.
Go back to the health thing. You talked about obviously being a Masters player and kind of over 50s player. I'm still a keen player myself, and I play in a club of people from 20. I come back from the club, absolute rage. My wife will say to me, "Man, what's wrong with this? I can't believe I lost that game." And she said, "Man, how old are they?" And I'm like, and I had to go back to the club the following week. One of you's 23. And so I just find like myself, I find I've got rotator cuff, I've had a hip flexor problem. My knees are okay. I've had Achilles. I've got plantar fasciitis. I've had it all. What's your thing? What's yours?
Well,
Do you
you
have
can
any?
see. I remember last year you had a really good physio in in Scotland.
Yeah,
A
that's
very
right.
very nice guy. I think he worked for the Nationals as well.
That's
And
right.
I'm in deep shit if he's not there for 3 days for sure. And the same goes for the Europeans, where we have a super guy from Denmark. If he's possible, he travels with, and it was impossible to get through a week because we have to remember
Yeah, a week. Yeah.
if you're crazy like me and pay 3 events, you can easily, if it goes good, you can stand with a lot of
Yeah.
matches, and you sometimes forget you're plus 50. I mean, if Victor should have played 3 or 4 matches in one day, believe me, it would have hurted him besides
When
the level. But
I go to club for 2 hours and I come back 2.5 hours of club every Thursday night, and I just can't think about a whole day of badminton playing singles, doubles, and mixed. But I know there's a lot of gaps, and I think that's what puts me off. In the past, a lot sitting about, kind of waiting sandwiches and
yeah,
sweets, isn't there? I think that's just a thing. That's it, isn't it?
I think we sometimes forget how rough badminton are to your body.
Oh,
I mean, and if you see the Europeans on the walls, I mean, the one who makes the money is like going on skiing. It's the doctors and the physios, because otherwise it would be impossible to get through.
I know.
It's that simple, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. No, we all love it for sure. So, Francis, any advice you give to anybody considering? There's a question for you from Craig. What advice would you give any of us considering getting involved in the Masters badminton? Yeah.
uh, take a big leap of faith like I did after Craig kind of supported me. I think I would suggest come along and watch the international.
Oh
We
yeah.
have 307 players, and I think about 150 from Scotland. They're coming from all over Europe. We've got USA, Pakistan.
Wow.
Um, it's going to be phenomenal. So I would say come and watch, come
Yeah.
and chat to us. Use Badminton Scotland. This is like one of the biggest events. There's club finders on there, so you can go to any club. Like you said,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be masters. You play against the youngsters. Um, I would say follow us on social media. We've got the Badminton Scotland Masters page. Come and join the WhatsApp group. And then there's different competitions depending on your level. So obviously for us, we've got the Scottish International, which is huge. We've mentioned the World Championships, the Europeans. We've got Scotland, England. We did a Scotland Ireland match this year. And then there's also been other events. So we've got team events, which are social but highly competitive. So that's nice if you don't want to play totally as an individual, you're supported by a team. And then there are other Scotland select matches. They went down to Northumberland, played teams from Ireland and England. Um, just trying to get as many people into badminton as
Yeah, it's great.
possible. But I would say do it. Morten talking about all the injuries that you have, but sometimes I think if we weren't playing badminton,
I
think
know.
how many more we could have. It's such a healthy, friendly sport to do. So I would say if you're thinking about it, stop thinking about it and do it. Come and join us.
I
Yeah,
think it's
good.
very correct said. I mean, a lot of thing is to get people to understand the environment, because you've seen a lot of players. I started in, I think my first one was in Canada in 11. Um, I mean, for an older player, yeah.
Yeah.
And there is many players that have been playing since then, but a lot has happened, especially in the youngster group. The level has gone increasingly high. It's beginning to be popular to play 35 or 40s, which is a big change.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, I'm keen. I mean, like I say, in club I play. I think the oldest player in my club is. I think there's one guy that's about 56, but majority is up to 35 kind of thing. And when I go, it's a real beasting. I mean, it's hardcore, and so it is. I'm fascinated to see. Everybody wants to see where they are with their own age group, isn't it? It's so.
Well, you have to play if you wanna, depending on which age group you're playing in. Either it's for instance Battle Scottish or Europeans or Worlds or whatever it is. In my book, if you want to do well, you have to be able to play with the youngsters as well, because when you play the tough matches at the older, they can still, the best of them can still compete with the youngsters. So I didn't say beat them, but they can compete with them, and the speed is so much higher. So that gives a certain advantage if you play the older guys, because they perhaps can't play for an hour in full speed. So
Yeah,
I
I
think
love
the
it.
standard is
that's the number on the birth certificate. Yeah.
the standard is just so high, and like looking at the tournament that's coming up, you've got players like we've got Dan and Christine from Scotland who are just phenomenal with the world titles. Dan got 3 golds at the Europeans this year, and then
Yeah.
you've got Pam and Shan from Ireland that have got world titles. Julie Bradbury from England, who was world mixed doubles champion. Like, it's unbelievable. And even though I'm in the youngest age category, when you look at the ones older, it is phenomenal. And players that I looked up to when I was younger, and it's nice to kind of play alongside them and all be there together. And at the international this year, they've increased the age group, so I think it goes up to over 75s. It just goes to show
I
the
think they are
demand.
discussing actually for the Worlds in Thailand if they're going to plus 80, which is crazy,
Yeah.
Is it?
but fantastic. I mean, it really
Can I,
is.
can I come and play up?
I'm not sure you get allowed to play plus 80, but it's worth a shot.
Yeah, I think so. And just one final point. You mentioned the Kaylee. Kaylee's social bar Saturday night. Still tickets available. 160 tickets have been sold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Travels is wild.
That's going to be some Kaylee. What? 160?
I'm so happy. This is the first year that I'm able to do it. So I think when I first played the Masters tournament, I just concentrated on the badminton. And then last year, Jodie and I came off our doubles court, and I think we'd finished so late, the meal had started, so we never made it. But I see how much Badminton Scotland, the Masters Committee, people like Craig Robertson, how much they're doing for Badminton Scotland for Masters level. And I'm like, I just want to be there. I want to support it. So yeah, if there are tickets left, I mean, it's hugely popular. You know, if you're thinking of doing it, I would definitely say go to it.
The good thing
I've heard a
is
rumor that
the
Craig
Scottish
Robertson
always
might even
winning
be
there.
singing.
Yeah.
What was that story, Morten?
I'm saying the Scottish is always winning Saturday night, so we can't compete with them in the beer. So they do well Saturday night. Yeah.
No, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Thank you,
Yeah.
guys. I really appreciate
welcome.
you spending your Sunday
You're
afternoon.
welcome.
I've
See you
really
in
enjoyed it.
Scotland.
And I'm definitely going to come over and just watch and see you both on court. Maybe
Good.
get a little,
Get your
maybe get
Kaylee
a little,
ticket as well.
get a
Let
ticket.
us know which day you're coming.
Take care. Thanks for your
All right.
time.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.